Waiting?
All right.
Smart. We have a quorum tonight, 5 of 7 absent, Joshua Blackman and Melvin Williams, and we were notified ahead of time. We will move to consent the agenda, approved minutes of March 19th, 2026.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is that Rachel?
Yep. Moved and seconded. Any comments or anything? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? That's it? Did you want to vote
Approved, sorry.
in favor?
Yes.
There.
Sorry.
So 5-0.
5-0, yes.
Jeez. Wow.
Thank you. Audience with the public, nobody signed up to speak. Does anybody want to speak? Nobody wants to speak. You sure?
Oh, there's Josh.
Oh, Josh is here. Action items. Ryan?
I'd like to add one to it as well, if that's possible. It will be Madomic Valley septic system.
Thank you, I was gonna ask you about that.
Oh, pardon me.
That's the high school, right?
That's the, yes,
Yeah, I
correct.
just wanted,
Yeah.
I know, but I can't. No, I just wanted to make sure. Well, this is middle school, right?
Yeah.
You know.
So starting at the top of the action items, bond update. As most of you know, we have already visited Waldoboro, Warren, Union. I'm pleased with the response that we're getting compared to the last bond, when I stood before those same groups. We will be meeting with Washington next Wednesday, the 22nd, and then Friendship the Monday after that on the 27th. So that will complete our initial round of the select boards, and we will probably be discussing a follow-up somewhere in the future to drill down and ask some additional questions and, maybe get some more community engagement, and we continue to work on that.
Sorry, Brian. Is the intent to go back before the select board again or try to host something at the high school potentially?
We're still talking about the engagement, how that wants to go. For me personally, I think that the more engagement we have, not only with the select boards, but with the town offices, is a bonus. I mean, they talk to the voters a lot more than we do. So I think that the more that they are informed, the better it is going to serve us.
Awesome.
Asbestos. So this is kind of a weird one because we won't know if we're gonna do the asbestos remediation until after the vote in June. However, we're obviously planning in that event. And so we've put out kind of a preliminary schedule to the high school staff on what this is gonna look like, which is basically on the 21st or whatever that is, 19th is a Friday, 2021. So on the Monday, the 22nd, we'll start clearing classrooms. Everything's gonna go down to the gymnasium. We'll block off the school. I'm gonna send my custodial staff somewhere else, and we'll do asbestos remediation. Where it will also, at that beginning, while we're clearing out the rooms, we'll be doing the water treatment, adding the arsenic treatment system to that room. And so I would like to get that done, make sure the state has taken their testing and all of that, so we're not up against it once school starts. So that's a goal of mine. There is no question that we're gonna be up against it with the arsenic. I mean, there's a reason they call it the summer slams. If anybody has not heard that term, you will hear it a lot moving forward. I expect that we'll probably have about a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most before school starts, those last 2 weeks, to get classrooms set back up and kind of get the school ready to go. I think that I've told everybody, if we do the asbestos remediation, we'll be gonna be basically having cement floors in the high school for next year. And then if the bond passes, that will allow us to then dig up sewer lines that run through all the hallways without destroying any new tile. And if the bond doesn't pass, then we're gonna have to have a we'll be having another discussion about what we wanna do from there. So,
Another question in regards to that, Brian.
Yeah.
Is the plan, if we get the revolving renovation loan and God forbid, the bond does not pass, the plan is still then to deal with asbestos remediation?
I think that we should.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
So you would be asking then, be like, okay, now what do we do for flooring, is what you're saying? If the bond didn't pass, it'd be just cement floors at that point?
It would be cement
And that would
floors
be your
until we
question.
could, I mean, they fix them up, and from what I understand, they kind of go along with a trowel or something, kind of
Polishes it?
polishes them up a little bit, and makes them more presentable, so you can vacuum them, you can do all the regular stuff to them. So I've got to get a little better look on what that looks like, but it certainly isn't going to inhibit, school from taking place. And I certainly think the juice will be worth the squeeze in this case.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've done the initial, schedule, the teachers we're kind of going back and forth and trying to find some middle ground on some things. Obviously, everybody always wants to know, it's the unknown that always gets people upset, and a little bit concerned, and I get that as well. I've got a lot of unknowns for this upcoming summer as well, so I completely understand their position on that, so. Any
Right.
questions on asbestos?
There's not a lot of time between the approval of the bond and when you would start
That's
for
correct.
the unknown, like, it's just
That's
like
it, yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm sure construction workers are really happy about that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just realized I've got to add one more action item as well at the end that I wanted to give everybody an update on. Next is the Miller sewer line. So on the 6th of April, we had a backup in the sewer line that runs down the side of the building by the gymnasium. There are 2 catch basins there, one on the back side of the gym, kind of in the center of the parking lot, and then another one closer down towards that front corner by what I call the custodian, where the custodian's office is. This is not the first time that we've had a problem. Upon further investigation, it's kind of the typical standard is we have interstate septic that comes out. They come with 2 trucks. Basically, one is one of their suction trucks and to clean up the catch basin because it's overflowing. And then the second one is one of their water guns that they then send down through and to try to clear the obstruction. What we have found is that the catch basin where the primary sewer line comes out of the building, that has shifted significantly with the frost this winter. Why this winter more than other winters, I don't know, but this first started a couple of years ago when that parking lot kind of disintegrated literally almost overnight, and we had to come in, we re-gravelled. The Waldeboro sewer department, I've lost his name, which is embarrassing. He was there on site, and he gave me a heads up that we'll be receiving a letter that needs to be addressed, which I don't blame him. I mean, we do need to address it. So I am working on what that is going to look like, and how we can make that work.
So this is Waldeboro code enforcement.
It's the Waldeboro code enforcement, but primarily it's the sewer department. But I'm sure the authority, I don't know if it's the sewer department that would have the authority or if they would have to go through codes enforcement. I'm not sure how that works, but I think that we owe it to make sure that we're doing the right thing there.
For sure.
So I'll have more information on that as we work through the process.
So was there also an obstruction, or is it just from the shifting of the pipe that it's no longer aligned
Yeah, so
correctly?
what has happened is that
Or both?
the pipe, the outlet pipe
Yeah.
from the top collection basin, has shifted to the point where the first 4 or 5 feet, you don't have downward pitch.
Great.
And so you're getting some stuff
Yeah.
stagnating, which
Yeah.
allows some of the solids to collect.
Got it.
And then it just builds up and pretty soon you've got nothing going through it at all.
Sure.
Fortunately, that's the one and only we've had so far, but I anticipate that we may have, who knows, we may have more. But we'll certainly take a look at options as far as to fix that.
Is the thought that that whole catch basin is going to need to be extracted and
I think we'll be able to reuse the catch basin. I think we're gonna have to lift it up, resettle it, but certainly that, the pipe, the outlet pipe that goes down to then the next, catch basin, we're probably gonna wanna dig that whole line up and make sure that we've got, if we're gonna be digging, we
Sure.
might just as well dig down at least to that next catch basin, verify the line is right, make sure we've got good pitch. And then we can take a look at that side of, that parking lot on that side of Miller, for any of you who have not been there, is an absolute, it's ready to be replaced. It's in really, really bad shape. So I've just gotta figure out what that's all gonna look like and what it's gonna cost to make it happen.
Okay.
And I'll come back with some more information on that once I get it. Any questions on Miller? All right, bus right. So Sarah Davis, who's here, has been working diligently on getting bus right up. So Waldeboro was out and, invitations have been sent out also to Friendship and one of the buses in Washington. And so we continue to build on that, and I know Sarah is working hard to get that pushed through, and we want to get them all out there. But surprisingly enough, we've only got 68 people that are using the app right now, and I was kind of surprised. I thought that we'd have more, but perhaps once the word gets out and realize the benefits of it, that more people will start using it.
Which towns is it rolled out in Warren?
Waldeboro, it's been rolled out, Friendship, it's been sent out, and one of the buses, bus 4, in Washington.
Okay.
And I think Sarah is working with Myrna. By the way, I'm sorry, I did not introduce, Myrna Sol Robbins, who is here. She's a longtime bus driver for the district. She drives in Washington. So they're gonna be getting her route, making sure that we've got everything right on that, and we'll be getting that released as well for the app.
And then you'll do Union and Warren at some point.
Correct. Yeah.
Is that information going out on Karen Square to the?
I did get one recently, yeah. It was like an introduction.
Sarah, do you anticipate all of the routes to be up and online by the end of this year, or will there be some trickling over into next?
They absolutely will. I have one Washington, one Warren, and one Union route that I still need to ride with the drivers. All of the other routes are ready to go. It's just working with Cooper and Bus Right to get parent invites out. And then the same notification that went to Union, I think I sent it to other elementary schools as well. It's been a couple of weeks. That will go out. I sent a different notification to Waldeboro families that was a step-by-step guide to the app itself. And then it gave them directions for who to contact in case, like if it's app related, it goes to bus right support, and if it's route or bus related, it comes to us. But my hope is that coming back from vacation, Friendship will be active. It started today. Friendship will be active after vacation. Bus 4 has been using the tablet and the app. We just needed to make some tweaks to the route so that the invites could go out to the parents. I'm gonna corner Myrna hopefully during vacation so that we can get hers squared away, because I'd like hers to be up and running the week after vacation. And then the 3 routes that I have in Warren that are all set to go, I think that our plan is to talk with the drivers and have them ready to go the week after vacation. So at that point, it'll just be 2 buses that I'll still need to ride in order to make it work.
And can I just ask, as far as the notifications and the invites are concerned, those have all been electronic thus far?
They are. It goes through to the email that parents have in Infinite Campus.
Oh, okay. Could we entertain the thought of maybe sending something home at the beginning of the month, like when we give the hot lunch schedule? Try to encourage people, you know, it's a hard,
paper.
Absolutely.
yeah, hard piece of
Whatever you
paper
guys
that comes
would
home with the student,
Yeah.
potentially, yeah.
Myrna?
I don't know whether I can speak now or not. Anyhow, I kind of got a question for you, Sarah. And it does pertain to this. Isn't it gonna be a lot more work for you if you don't wait till the first of the year, because all these sixth and seventh graders that you already, fifth and sixth graders that you put in, if you've gotta switch that all around, you're gonna have to go back and do all that.
We do, so it started at the beginning of this year, when we moved sixth grade, over from Miller School. Cooper in IT helped me with a report that pulls all of the names of the students that are newly enrolled in a school. So that's my guide to go by. I just pull those students off of their elementary route and then plunk them into whatever route they land in for the middle school, high school. So yes, it is, but I'm good for it, Myrna.
Yeah, Sarah's
She
done a
just got
tremendous
real
amount of work, I wanna thank her for that. And then, so the Cooper that she references is Cooper Dahlberg, who works for Ian, is database.
Our data manager.
Data manager. Cooper has worked incredibly hard, both working with Sarah, but also interfacing with Busright to overcome some of those challenges, merging RSU 40 IC data into their app. So, did I say that right, Ian?
Yeah,
Is that
and
about right?
to your point, Tim, there's two different campaigns we really need to engage in. One is a general awareness campaign that this product is out there and what the benefits are, and that would be something that could go with the lunch menu or all the publications. The enrollment that's sent out is specific to the parents, so it's like be on the lookout in your email for the enrollment email that's gonna come to you, because we wanna make sure, it's not like you can just download the app and plunk your kid's name in.
Right,
We need
certainly.
to make sure that we verify, because we only wanna give student location data to the parents who, really take care of them. But I think that awareness campaign is gonna be really important. Especially for the benefits of knowing on a rainy day when the bus is coming, or on a cold day. But also, a bus won't release a student of a certain age unless the parent is present. So if the parent is suddenly lost track of time and they get the notification that the bus is 3 minutes away, it's time for them to get visible so the bus can drop off. It's wildly convenient. It's just creating that awareness and then allaying the fears that it is some sort of vast government conspiracy to, keep track of things. It really is a program that's well vetted, is used in a couple of districts around here. And if we can just spread the word, that's the most important thing.
Tim?
Yes, go ahead.
Next year, should we have a goal on how many students or families are signed up by next Christmas? I mean, do we have a thought, do we want 50% of our student body signed up? Do we want 60%, or do we have any idea what a success is, or?
Well, I would say that, yes, as many parents as possible is successful, but there is an inward-facing component to the platform that Brian and Sarah and the building administrators and administrative assistants also know where the buses are at all given times. So if a parent calls up the office and says, my kid hasn't been dropped off yet, where is the bus? Sarah, Brian, or anyone attached to the school can look at the dashboard and say, they're 5 minutes away. And so the inward benefit is half of it. The parent benefit is more for parental convenience.
Right.
So I would think that getting the schools up and running and everybody trained to know how to use it internally, and then we can make that concerted effort to push out as part of our first day paperwork, orientation, backpacking, forms home, using the teachers as a resource during open houses and things like that. We'll have some vehicles once we know that it's working. The last thing you want to do is push families to a platform that's confusing, frustrating, or inconsistent, and then we can start that onboarding en masse.
Any questions, any further questions on bus rate? All right. So buses, we've kind of had a goal to do 2 buses a year, at least 3 buses every 2 years, to keep the rotation going and making sure that we're staying with new buses. We have fallen short of that the last couple of years, and we will fall short of that again in this upcoming year. I think that Karen and I have looked at it, we'll be able to buy 1 new bus for the 26, 27 year, and then we have a fair amount of debt from loans that comes off at the end of 27, May of 27. And so we're looking to kind of catch back up at going into the 27, 28 school year. And I just wanted to let you all know that that is something that we continue to track and something we want to make sure that we don't fall behind, which I think we had done. And I wasn't here at that point, but I know that they used COVID money to catch up significantly on some of the buses and getting them updated.
We're not in horrible shape, but we
No.
definitely don't wanna get behind, and the cost of buses, I've been here 6 years, and I think the first bus was under 100,000, the last bus was 189,000. Even if I take off the tariffs and the cameras, it was probably 170, so I mean, it's almost doubled. So obviously we can't buy the 2 is the price of 1 now. So, and we're buying vans, which is also,
Doubled as well, right?
the amount of vans that we're using, and the amount of miles we're putting on them.
I know that, sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask, has the cost of vans gone up similarly?
I haven't noticed the price of the vans, Sarah, you've been helping with those, has it gone up as much?
50 to 55.
So it hasn't gone up huge in the last
Okay.
couple of years, I
That's
would
good to know.
say. Not like pickup trucks have, something like that.
Are we prioritizing, as we're buying new buses? I know the last one that we bought, we were excited that we got like the flat front, what do you call that? What's the
Flat nose.
Flat nose.
Just flat nose, I was like, snub nose, and that, okay, just flat.
That's kind of a
Flat
cool
nose.
name though.
Yeah,
Are we prioritizing just as far as like, I mean, I know those are more expensive as a thing, but it seems like as far as safety is concerned, we're prioritizing buying that style of bus.
So, it's a coincidence that we had that flat nose ordered, and then a couple of incidences with buses came in, and it probably gave the appearance that we had changed up our approach to buses
Yeah.
because of that. We bought that bus for the driver and the route, which is a loaded route, particularly when there's only 4 drivers in Waldoboro. We'll take a look at as it goes. The problem with the flat nose buses is that they are moving to rear engines in the rear compartment rather than in the front of the compartment. And there are some challenges with that application that I am nowhere near smart enough to really talk to you about, but they're not getting well received by a lot of the people that are out there in the industry.
Okay.
The one we have now has that, or there's?
The one we have now is up front. From moving forward, they'll be building them. The
Gotcha.
Bluebird at least, which is the one that we like, is moving their engine back to the rear.
So we don't have a plan to make everybody
Into that bus.
exactly the same. That, I mean, the flat nose are better in town and it holds a few more kids, not necessarily as useful, like say on Myrna's run where she has longer to go, but not as many children to pick up, for example. But in town, sometimes we collapse routes, so we put more children on the routes that are left.
You don't, Myrna, you don't want that? Okay, Myrna doesn't know from Myrna. She has to be happy.
We have to have options.
Yeah.
We keep Myrna happy when we can.
That's fair, off to the
Yeah, I guess whatever she wants, so don't buy her that.
Brian, can I just ask, as far as getting back on track with the purchasing of buses, do you anticipate like purchasing 2 or 3?
I think that we'll probably do 2
Two.
for the 27, 28 year.
Yeah.
And again, we're not in terrible shape by any stretch of the imagination. We use COVID money, but I don't want to have us get into the position that we were kind of in around 2020, 2019. Again, COVID came around and I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't a great time in America, but one thing that it did do is we got to catch up a lot of facilities and get us right on a lot of things.
Yeah, I think we only have, what, 2, Brian, that are route buses that are over our 10 years?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're not in horrible shape.
They do.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense to have things on a cycle. We don't want everything to expire at the same time.
What was that, Bernard?
I was gonna say, there's a bunch of them that have got quite a few miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the mileage on some now.
The real problem comes is when you go into a substitute bus, the fleet starts getting pretty thin very quickly. So if you get 2 or 3 buses that are down all at the same time, which is a situation we're in right now, like I said, the fleet gets very thin by that, very quickly in that situation.
So here's a potentially silly question. When we purchase a new bus, are we maintaining the old bus and that becomes the substitute bus?
Yes, so basically the bus the new bus comes in replacing a bus. For instance, I'm gonna use this newest, bus 9 came in, which is the flat nose bus. That replaced bus 17, that then became one of our substitute buses, and then one of the older buses we then drop off the end. Is generally speaking how we've been doing it.
Like, we always buy them new when we're getting I mean, do we always buy like a brand new bus?
We do buy all new.
Okay.
Yeah, the only used bus that we've purchased, at least during my time, is we bought a used, one of the smaller buses that we use for our special services students. And we purchased that kind of, because we had an accident with that bus during the summer of 20, Julia, can you help me? Is that 23 or 20?
I was gonna say 23.
I think 24.
The summer, 23 or 24, during the extended school year, the bus was hit head on. And so we only had one, and so we made a purchase, from a local school district, so that we had, because we had 2, one basically that services Waldeboro, one that services Warren.
Because of sports trips and vehicles breaking down, we need to keep at least, 5 decent running spares,
Yes.
I would say, because we don't wanna run into not having enough. And the sports trips have to leave before the routes are done, so that it's not like they can wait, yeah.
Any questions on buses? All right. Speaking of van drivers, we did have a resignation recently, Mackenzie Bormet, who's been with us for a few years now. I was kind of anticipating this. She bought a home up in the kind of the central Maine. She was commuting for quite a while, but I think she found something a little closer to home. We certainly wish her well. She did a great job for us. For Sarah, all of her hard work, she's now also driving a van, so, because she doesn't have enough other things to do. But I want to be clear that I do cheer her on, and I give her most weekends off as well.
Most.
And you eat all the cookies she
Has the position been posted?
Yes, yeah, matter of fact.
We also met Brian down by the Liberty line a few times.
Yeah, Brian drives a lot.
I've done a couple of trips. So we're working through it, and we'll continue to work through it, and I mean, these things happen. We're gonna lose drivers, and we flex.
When he says he does a couple of trips, I ask him in the morning, are you driving? And then I ask him again at lunch, are you driving? Because he does a lot of trips. So it's really, Sarah and Brian really lead by example and step up, and it shows. So I just wanted to thank them for everything that they do. They go way above and beyond.
So that was the action items that we had published on this. I have 2 other items that I would like to talk about. One is the high school septic system, the other one is the biomass boiler. So this past week, we realized that we had lost power that services the septic system. And there is 2 parts to that. One is there's an aeration system, almost a water softener, that the effluent goes through before being pushed up into the septic field. And there is a lift pump that then pushes it up to the septic field. We had lost electricity. We originally thought that it was a transformer that had blown, and the transformer had in fact blown. The power to that, by the way, comes in the rear entrance to the high school, right by the dumpsters. For anybody who's been in the back section, there's a telephone pole. From that telephone pole, there is 3-phase power that goes into the high school. Then there's a single phase that comes down the side of the pole and goes underground to a yellow snack shack / storage building behind home plate at the softball field. And then from there, we ran electricity over to service the septic field. Long story short is that once they replaced the transformer Saturday, we realized that we had other problems. Ed Alley was awesome, came right out. Ed Alley's our electrician from Warren, came right out, and we quickly realized that we had a cable problem going from the transformer to the building. And kind of taking a look at our options, we realized it was gonna take a while to get that replaced. And so I was able to get in contact with Interstate Septic. That came out and they pumped our septic tanks, which gave us the capacity for the high school to still run. And, because there was the void there from sucking it out, and that would get us going until we got the new power line and got power restored and everything was working properly. And we had power back. It was late Monday evening, but we had power back Monday, and they're still doing some work. Steve Vanna, thank him as well. But between Steve, Vanna Construction, Ed Alley, Alley Electric, and Interstate Septic, I mean, it's pretty awesome. When the chips were down, every one of them answered the phone, and every one of them put boots on the ground immediately to try to come up with a plan to keep us in school. And so many thanks to all three of those 3 companies and those 3 people.
So
It's all
the
resolved.
power is resolved now, or do we need to pull a new underground line?
No, we've already dug the trench, put in a new underground,
Amazing.
and
Did
got
it
it
in a
all,
day, one day.
got it all done in a day. Yeah, it was, and that included having to, Ed Alley having to drive to Newport or Bangor? Newport, to get the cable long enough. It's about 300 feet, a little over 300 feet, going across there. So you need a much larger for the electrical capacity required. And so the lesson that I learned on that is that how we found out that we lost power was that the effluent was kind of coming up the tops of the aeration tanks. That was kind of the first notice that we had a problem. I've gotta get something, there, so when we lose power, that we get a notification, which is not a difficult thing. We have all of those on our schools. It's a cellular notification, and so I will get that instituted as well, so that we know if we ever lose power to the septic system, that we'll know about it in advance, so we can take care of it in advance.
Did the old line get yanked out?
The old line was removed, yeah.
Did you see what happened to it to cause this? Was there anything evident?
So right where it came down into the ground and took a 90-degree corner, right in that corner, it just rock had come up through in the frost and had punctured it, and that's where it was. Unfortunately, we didn't know where it was until we dug the whole thing up. I chose to go back to a direct burial again rather than running conduit for the sheer cost of the conduit. And if that lasts another 20 years or so, something like that, hopefully it lasts a lot longer than that. We took, Steve Vanna did a nice job digging it deeper, burying it in really nice sand. So I think we've got a good plan in there, and so that was what we did.
I heard about it from softball girls.
I bet you did. I bet you did.
They were like,
yes.
What is wrong? Are we gonna be able to have practice here?
Absolutely.
I'm like, I'm sure I'll hear all about it on Thursday.
Yeah. Any questions on that?
I just can't thank you enough again, Brian. I know I say it over and over again. I speak for the students. Brian calls me or texts everybody on Saturday morning. My first response was, can we have school Monday? Right, because we'd already been down one day because of the water at the high school, which I'm actively working on a letter to ask for a waiver for that day. But I just thought we might have a second day. And I do think that these are good talking points for the high school renovation. That, you know, if you stay on top of things, hopefully you don't have to, I can handle, we can handle anything, but we would prefer to keep school open. Right, and because of Brian, there's a moment there where there's the creative thinking of, oh, pump it, and then let's get this done Monday. It just, the focus is on the right things, which is the kids. And I'm really grateful for that, so.
I was hoping we were gonna be able to do a generator, but unfortunately, the electrical requirements is above anything that you're gonna be able to source.
Yeah.
Locally, and it being a Saturday, that did not help either.
Yeah. Plus, you didn't know where the wire was cut, right?
Well,
So
that's
transformer replaced,
exactly
the wire
right.
wasn't working.
As Ed said, if we knew right where it was, we could have just dug that out and he could have spliced it back together and that would have been, but, we didn't know, so. Any questions on that, or we'll continue on? So the biomass boiler, we went to the, planning board, Waldeboro Planning Board, and they gave us a conditional approval, to start work on the biomass boiler. So we will get that going. Most of the conditions that we had to meet are gonna be pretty easy to provide. We needed to get a letter from the state fire marshal, which we already have it, we just had not provided that in the packet to them. We need to contact the Maine Historical Society to make sure that this is not a historically significant site, that was gonna be there. And there are 2 or 3, there's a pretty good 5, 6 things on the list that we're gonna have to go through. It was certainly a learning lesson for me going through this, with Waldeboro. I've been through a few in other towns, but, it was a good learning experience. I'll know I'll do better the next time that I gotta go before them, for something like this. And so we're gonna start, you'll see the work starting to get going on that, building the entrance road and then start digging for foundations. And, this summer's gonna be a busy summer. We're gonna have a lot of stuff going on. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting. Looking forward to it.
Do you get the summer off too?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Karen gives me most Sundays off.
I did have one thing for this committee, Brian, if you're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to let you all know that I did follow up on, the NASDAQ. I met with NASDAQ via Zoom call this week, talked to them about, what it would take to upgrade the previous facility study that they did with your current enrollments. And I also talked to them about, we would like to know what the grade configuration options could be without building on to any buildings. Right, so like I put some constraints on it for conversation purposes. You can lift those constraints should you choose to. I forwarded the proposal to the board chair and vice chair, I got it at 3 o'clock today. So I forwarded it to you, Tim, and I think we should just put it's good until June 30th, but just to give everybody a prelim, it would be about $25,000, which is about what I thought, but they gave us a 20% discount because we're members, so it'd be $20,000. I would encourage you to read the proposal carefully and consider this because I think it's great for you from an optics perspective to have someone from the outside update, but they've already done the report, so that's why it was a lot less than what it would have been. So they'll go through and update it based on your current enrollments.
Okay.
And with the constraint of saying we're not adding on to a building. It does not include busing. So I think that one thing that I would say to you is that if you choose to go forward with figuring out some kind of a reconfiguration plan for your organization, that as you do so, you as a board set what the bus time you are comfortable with for, say, pre-K2 or K through 5. And then once you decide where the kids would go, then you run the bus routes to figure out how long it would take to get from the farthest corner of Washington to where you want them to go. Don't let the busing drive, I'm trying to be funny. Yeah, don't let the busing drive the conversation. Let the let the kids and what you need for the organization drive the conversation, and then bend the busing to that with the understanding that you bus a long way every day, and it may be a problem as you go through it. I would just encourage you to focus on what the kids need and what is best for the academics, and then try to work the busing around that with an understanding that the busing is a real problem. Because if you agree, oh, we'd save X amount of money to reorganize our operations, and we could use some of that money to get more buses, that doesn't mean that you could get drivers. So you gotta, there are issues. But I always say put the kids first, start there, and it's the old principle of Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind.
So don't start with the idea of what's even possible with busing, because
I would focus on how you want the district organized based on the students' needs, and then bend the busing to the will of that as best you can.
but whatever the best for the kids and needs, what if that meant we needed more buses?
It might.
But then we can't find bus drivers.
And that's gonna be where you have to kind of, once you get into the weeds of that, that's when you have to start making decisions about, could this route be a little bit longer? There's so much to that, and you're right on track, Nicole. I'm just advising you, think about what the students need is to have an academically rich experience that makes them have the skills that they need to be successful in the world they're going to face holistically. So it's not just about school, it's about being able to interact with one another and control our own behavior, having enough creativity, play, it's all in there. But one thing that you're missing as an organization is that because you're spending so much money on all these different facilities, the money isn't going always to teaching and learning, it's going to the facilities. And so if you can focus that money and do more academic intervention, particularly in pre-K2, where students are learning to read, they're more likely to access the curriculum once they're reading to learn. And that's how I got the scores at my last job. We went from 30% of students at grade level in reading and math to 90% and 77% in fourth grade. And we did it by reorganizing the district and putting grades bands together, but we didn't just cut positions because we didn't need as many teachers. We used some of the savings to fund an academic intervention program and reduce the budget. So it's not or, it's and. And so I think that you're poised with your declining enrollments to do some of those things. But Nicole, you're totally correct that the busing is the problem. And all I'm saying is, if you talk about this with NESDEC next year, and you get through the process, and you're like, okay, we want to bus these kids from here to here, but it's a long bus ride. You may have to have 2 bus rides with less kids to get them there in 45 minutes. And then you have to ask, can we get the drivers? That's when we get to the question you just asked.
Right.
I was just encouraging you to come at it the other way.
Gotcha.
Start with the kids and what you want them to know and be able to do, and then build everything to meet that and do it together. It's so important that the teachers are engaged in these conversations, but the first step is to have NESDEC show you the options, and then once you have the options, then you can start the conversations in the process.
What's the turnaround time once we ask them to, begin, how long does it take for the process of the?
I don't know, I'll ask them.
Okay.
Yep, I remember it was a few months, but I think they're because they've already done so much work here, they probably will be able to move pretty quickly, but I will check in with them.
Okay.
Great question, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Dan,
happy to help.
you had a comment?
And Brian, on the biomass boiler, that's going near where the trees are, right?
It is.
Are we having to move any of that? I can't remember if we have.
Right now, it does not look like we will. The pizza oven that's down there that was built some point in the past, we're gonna be moving that up onto the higher ground, which frankly, it would be able to get better use up on the higher ground anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Tom, just to get back to what you were saying about the study, am I correct that we allocated some money aside for that during the budget?
We did not, we agreed that we would just figure out what it would cost and then talk to Brian about the facilities budget in this committee and
I see.
try to
Okay.
figure out what to do.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't add it to the budget, but.
This is the time to talk about SIP trunking. Or do you
Oh.
want to move on to that?
Yeah, great call. All right, hey, we've got a few extra minutes. Let me add yet a third item.
Brian,
Fourth fourth item to it. So right now, all of our schools have what is called POTS lines, plain old telephone system lines, just like you have at your house. Two copper pair that goes up, carries voice data back and forth. The world of POTS lines is going away. Phone companies no longer have to maintain them by a new recent finding. And so this is something that I started looking at a couple years ago and some of the options. And voice over the internet, some of you have heard before. Kind of the voice over internet that you have at home, kind of the corporate side of that is called SIP trunking. Session initiated protocol, is that right, Ian? Basically, it's kind of the same, it's the same idea as at home. You use data pipe to move voice data. It gives you the ability to have kind of numbers, and then you sometimes can shrink your numbers because you don't need a number just for each one of you. You can bring one in, and then from there you have numbers that go out. I'm not explaining that very well, but anyways, this is something we're gonna have to do. Previously, the cost, the infrastructure cost of doing this was prohibitive. Just the infrastructure build out from Consolidated Communications from middle school was about $35,000 or $40,000. We are looking at that again now. We've had initial conversations with a company called Gigatel, who they were brought to the table by Sam Overlock, who services all of our phone systems. So it interfaces with all of our phone systems. There's no big changes there. There will be potentially, it's gonna be a new way of doing business, no question about that. There's gonna be some changes to the way that you answer phones, you forward phone calls into various places. But there's also a lot of benefits that it provides as well, and frankly, we don't have a choice. We're gonna have to do it one way or the other.
Does this mean if the internet is down, you have no phones?
So there are some fail safes that they have the ability with this, whereby if Friendship was down, they could forward lines, for instance, all the calls to the central office, so that we could be taking calls. There was also a fail safe that was up to like 30 minutes with some backup power to keep everything operating.
Currently, our internet can withhold about 30 minutes of power outage, give or take, and that is not awesome, but it is enough to get notifications out through Parent Square that the internet is down, the power is down. If we lose power for an extended period of time, chances are we might just be sending kids home. But right now, we are looking to segregate internet service in all of our buildings. Currently, 5 buildings go through the high school. They're gonna be going into the individual buildings. So we'll have a better chance of redundancy, that if the high school loses internet, we could call forward to the middle school. There's ways to roll over those phone ports. But yes, Nicole, ultimately, and as I've experienced on Mangtown Road, sometimes things just go down.
Yeah.
And it's phone and tower. You know, if something takes out a telephone pole right now, we're losing everything anyways, because the phone lines come in on the same poles as everything else.
Yeah.
But we also need to develop those plans on how 911 would work over the internet, because of just the way the data is sent out, the protocols for. The other thing that we might be able to do is dedicate a cell phone with the school number, so that the person at the office, the calls would forward through to a cell phone.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
because we, in an office I used to work at, we had a similar thing, and so when there was a snowstorm and we were closed, we had all on our phones, so we could just call or text everybody and cancel their appointments for the day or whatever. But when the internet would go down, we couldn't communicate with anybody, and so that just made me worried.
But dedicating a cell phone in each building to forward the calls to is probably it's gonna be the solution that we're gonna look at most.
Yeah.
We also need solutions for alarm panels and elevators, because those need constant connectivity, and that will probably be cellular as well. There's lots of little things that we need to look at, but there's also a considerable cost savings that I think we're gonna see after maybe the first year of setup. Copper line is expensive. The other thing the service provides is long distance, which we currently don't have on our high school plan. And so, I think it'll be definitely a net positive as we move forward.
Nicole, my last district did it, and it was great after the first year. It did take a little while, and all those kinks get worked out. So I certainly think that you're headed in the right direction with this.
The other little interruption is that, between Tidewater and Consolidated, are those the two companies?
It's not the Consolidated Communications, we all know, it's the Consolidated Communications that services Washington, which is apparently a
And
subsidiary.
Tidewater, Union, those numbers for the Union School and Prescott will have to change.
Okay.
Small companies don't necessarily let their phone numbers get ported to larger companies. But we will look at a call forwarding for the first duration of time so that people can have time to learn the new phone numbers, so.
So regular phones are just completely going away, it's so sad.
I know.
Such a weird one.
So the call forwarding piece of this whole process, this is the one section that does not faze me in the least. Call forwarding, they've been doing that for 30 years or better now, so don't worry about that piece at
Yeah,
all.
I just mean like regular phones.
Phones
lines
are,
and-
yes.
They're gonna just go away
They're-
everywhere.
Oh, my son went to his grandfather's house and was like, what is that? And that was 15 years ago.
I mean, I don't have one in my house, but
I
it
know,
just
it's
feels
just so
like,
weird, yeah.
it just feels weird.
It is weird.
Absolutely.
Crazy,
So,
it's usually not that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To Nicole's point,
It is hard.
as far as, there's no question, when we lose powers, when we lose phone systems at the schools, it is an absolute hassle for the schools,
Everybody.
and Julia is here. She feels it a lot more than me, because I get cell phone calls, but they're the ones who are trying to solve this thing. Like anything, we work through some actions and we come up with some solutions. At the schools, we have a single line phone that plugs into a jack, so at least you've got your main number working. We'll be able to figure out, there will be something, as we were having a discussion with the GigTel reps, there are a number of options. It's just gonna be what is gonna be the best solution for our application. I think that as much as I fear technology, and I'd like to keep things back to the rotary dial phones. Knew you were making a phone call then. This is gonna be for the best, there's no question.
I want the one that you lift up the thing and you put it on your ear and you talk into the whole.
Yeah, let's go back to those.
Old school,
Yeah.
baby.
And
I
this
love
system
that.
is compatible with all the current phone systems already in the school, so that we won't have to build out anything from the outside of the building in. It's just how the phone gets into the building. So we're really lucky to have guys like Matt Kaczewski and Sam on our side who have been building out these systems for years and have made them ready for the future.
And I assume that we'd be rolling this out at all of the schools all at one time, correct?
Right now, I
Thinking of a
mean,
budget.
after the first meeting, kind of an initial mark on the wall we were thinking about was for August.
Okay,
Then that way, we can make sure, so when you port numbers over from one carrier to another carrier, I guess they've cleaned that all up. I was involved in this for a very short time in my life, and it was, every time they did it, it was a hassle. And so doing it in the middle of August, that gives us a month before school starts to make sure that it's working properly. That gives Sam an opportunity, Sam Overlock, our phone system guy, that gives him enough time to make sure that all the schools, the staff knows the new system, how it works, that kind of stuff. We can get, immediate action drills for loss of phone or any other number of other things that we've gotta do. We can get all of that taken care of, so when the first day of school, when kids arrive, that we're not worrying about, what's gonna happen if the phones go out.
I just have this visual that Brian's the summer of 2026 is basically a massive Jenga block pile and all of them are on the top and there's like 3 on the bottom, right? Our job is to make sure that Brian, they don't all fall, yeah.
That's why I got Sarah handles all that.
Let's add a little more to the top of it,
Yeah.
Brian.
Do you anticipate having some type of a price tag
Yeah.
for us to?
On the gig towel? Absolutely, yeah, we will, I'll come back to you
Yep.
with the whole thing,
Yep.
absolutely, before we move forward with it. Yeah. So, pending any questions or discussion of any other topics, that completes my portion of tonight's meeting.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You did the whole meeting.
Thank you, Brian.
Other items, is there anybody else who has any questions or comments or anything to add?
I have one quick, I'll keep it very quick on the side, but this just, I guess this telephone conversation kind of reminds me, that it would be, and now is not the time, but maybe just to keep it all on our brains, to revisit sort of like the security
Yes.
questions that I feel like I mean, obviously we've had so much going on that we haven't had the ability to access that. But just as we're looking at these sort of new systems going in place, it would be nice for us to maybe keep that on the forefront of looking at some of options for that coming into, maybe not next year, but the year after. And for us to not lose sight of that being a priority as well.
I would agree with you completely.
Yeah,
Well, we'd also talked at one point about radios,
right,
Radios, yeah,
Right.
repeaters.
repeater on each building, and
yeah,
that's something that should not be lost either, because you lose your phone system,
right, you know?
you need to be able to communicate, in an emergency situation or whatever.
And I would say that one of the things you should do is try to look for grants. Because there are often grants for improved communication and safety. And, it is, not only is it a great thing to have the radio communication from building to building, but also to be able to connect with the local police and fire and EMS. Because you're in 2 counties, it's just great to have it so that you can get to anyone you need to, because if there's a real event, they're all coming.
Check EMA, FEMA sometimes does,
FEMA, yep.
FEMA does grants and things like
In my
that.
last district, we
Who
paid
does
for the
that?
vast majority of it with grants.
Who does the grant,
Yeah.
like research for that?
You,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who does,
you.
oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what I'm looking
No,
at.
you guys have gotta decide who's gonna do that.
I don't know who
Tim,
does.
Yeah.
you know emergency stuff more than
No,
anybody, you know the regular.
It's not
part,
board
right?
members that do the
No,
grant
no,
research.
no, but I would talk to
That's
Dan.
it, I'm looking past you, I'm looking
All
past you.
joking aside, talk to the new
No.
superintendent,
Oh,
and he should put
Yeah.
together, figure out a plan to try to look for grants. I think that radio comms, so the other thing is that, to Nicole's point, the radio communication works, so if there's a real event when I say real event, I'm talking about, and I hate to say this because it hurts, but I have to say it, first person shooter, threat, a real bomb, not a false alarm. The cell phones won't work, so the radios work. And that's why getting them on, what we bought were pinned police radios that were hooked up to the exact channel of the local fire and police. And it took some training and trust, because if you give staff members pinned radios, number one, if they're lost, you have to repin all the radios. It's thousands of dollars. So you cannot lose a pinned radio. We had a student steal one, it was a huge mess. Just be aware that pinned radios are very difficult to read. You don't just pick up a new one. The other thing is they're professional handheld devices, they're expensive, so we don't leave them laying around. We had people, sign agreements that they understand that it's like their computer. There's a technology component to pinned radios. It's just a different level of intensity. However, when your cell phones don't work and the cell lines are down or the power's down, they work. And that's the beauty of that whole thing. The other thing that I would recommend that you keep on the radar is figuring out how to make all of your front entrances have strike-throughs and cameras to the offices. No one comes in the building unless they're buzzed in by an adult.
well, to me, it feels like I would put those together, what you're talking about and this new phone line
Right.
system, and do it simultaneously.
I don't know if you can. Fixing the doors is really expensive.
I mean, the
strike-throughs.
repeaters and the radios.
Well, the repeaters and the radios are a completely separate system, so they actually are their own organism, so to speak. They have their own ecosystem. They don't live in the internet connected world.
Right, but while you're changing this over, you have that as your backup as soon as school
Oh
starts.
yeah. Hey, I look. The sooner you could do repeaters and radios, I'd be in. Yeah, it's expensive though, and you've got to have some time to plan for that. So.
And you don't know what the overall makeup is gonna be, because we spend all this money now and then we do something where we don't have 5 schools, for example, then now we just wasted money on radios and
Well,
repeaters.
the good news is you might be able to do a repeater at like, the high school campus, Miller, Warren, and here, and get radio connect, it's far. It's not like it's just, so you need someone, a company to tell you what the range is and what the groove is on that, but I would encourage you to explore the reach
Right.
of a repeater.
Right, and not just that, there's a lot of town ordinances too, because, you know, like,
Yes.
for example, Union, you can't put up a new cell tower, so would you be able to put up a repeater? If you get-
Yeah, and I think that the repeater will be fine because it's small and it's on the roof of the building, but I would say this, Rick, I think it's really important to recognize that one of the hurdles isn't money, it's getting all of the EMS, police, and fire people to work together. It took me a year to do that,
Oh.
right? And we were in one county. So it just takes, you've got 2 counties and you've got just a lot of stuff to talk about, so the best thing that you could do is have Dan meet with, we created a superintendent safety task force. And we met monthly, we provided breakfast, and police and fire show up for breakfast, it was awesome. And we had people from the state come as well and the federal government because we had some connections. But the more people that are at the table all the way around, the more likely you are to find ways to get grants because more brains are looking at the problem. And the other thing is that they tend to, it increases trust and buy-in because getting pinned radios, the police, you've got to get them, there's a process to get them excited about it and set up and see the value in it. So I think you've got some preliminary work to do, but I think it's possible. Be a good goal, right? I don't know that you could do it by the end of August, even if you had the money. But you should talk to the local police, have Dan start right out. I certainly met with the police, Chief Lash, and one of my high school friends works at Knox, so it was kind of funny, I called him, it's like, no way, it's Kurt Andrick, like we went to high school together and had no idea that we were both here, but it just, I couldn't keep the momentum going with everything going on. And it would be Rachel, I'm glad you brought it up. For me as a dad, it's a super high priority, and I always try to make decisions based on what I would do if it were my son. And I would say to you that these 3 things are really important. The strike-throughs on the doors with cameras, the repeater and the radio connections, and having meetings regularly with your local law enforcement, all areas, so that they're on the same page. And we finally got to the point after 3 years where we ran a whole unit drill, where we had them all come from all over, that we saw how the fire trucks worked and the police and what a real mess it would be if they all show up. Right, and it just was good practice. So I think you've got some, I encourage you to take that momentum and run with it.
Is there anything else? Anybody else? It is 6:34, we are adjourned.